Okay. Hello, everybody. It's I guess we're calling this 5 points of contact. I'm joined by Brian Anderson, who's new at Coronation. I think he's the first time we're doing this, right, Brian?
Yeah, it's first time.
And then Jarek Shear, as you guys know, might have joined us from the Five Heart podcast before. And I'm doing this from my couch so I can watch El Assico, where Iowa leads 10-0. And oh my God, there you go. That's it. I'm done talking. I'm exhausted.
Yeah,
What a fucking shit show that was.
It was, you know what? I'll be honest. That game completely exhausted me. I literally by halftime was like, just so, just clenched. I don't know. Oh my God, it's an interception and pick six for Iowa.
I was going to say it doesn't get, if you're at 10-0 Iowa over Iowa State right now, you're a little behind, and well, that pick
Oh,
six.
I am?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep.
It's already into the second half.
Oh. Well, I just saw the pick six. I got to get better at this YouTube TV thing. I did this the other night, you guys know, with Clemson and Duke last week, where I was watching the game at midnight thinking, why is this game on so late? And it's because I literally never put YouTube live on. Okay, look at this. Look at this right out of the gates there, Brian. James Boardman, is this music trying to put us in a happy place? Is working, damn it. So good job on the intro. Brian did the intro.
Thank you.
I would have probably picked something morose and set Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah.
Where we all want to do acid and just go, why?
I was going to say, that's just good, solid drinking music, if anything, especially after a day like today. Even at halftime, you're thinking 13-0, just take care of the football. You're moving the football well towards the end of the half. Just mix them a couple of just take care of the football, and we should be okay.
Yeah.
Well, look at this. Early on, Fred Sacco comes in with a $5 super chat, and he says, I'm sickened. Zero reason to lose this game. Quarterback can't even handle snaps. Inexcusable. Offensive line sucks. Fire Raiola. Get a quarterback in the portal. Wait a minute. And then we had another one. And then we had another $5 super chat. Sims equals either incompetent or Iowa football compromise. We weren't playing the 85 Bears defense today. There was zero threat to him. Oh my God, I am exhausted. Colorado's defense is trash again, terrible. So I think that's it. You know, I mean, he made a good point about there was no pressure on him. I mean, he didn't even handle the snaps.
Yeah, you got to be able to handle the football from start to finish. And I'll be honest, I thought the offensive line for a portion of it kind of regressed. But once they got rolling, the run game got rolling, I thought they were fine. I didn't think the line, again, were that bad.
I didn't think it was that bad either. I thought the offensive line after, about second quarter, it just seemed like they kind of started getting the run game going. They kind of seemed to get everything going other than Sims shit. But, I mean, I didn't the line itself, I didn't think there was an issue.
Yeah, especially when we averaged, I think it was over 5 yards a carry, I think, for the content. I mean, guy, that's a good run game. It's just, again, limit the mistakes. I think the most concerning part about the offense is not only the turnovers, but 0 points in the first half through 2 contests. Iowa has done better so far. That's not a good sign.
Well, somebody said in Slack that we have scored as many points as Nebraska in the first half of games.
Yeah. I might have made that snarky remark.
Well, it's true, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, I'm not wrong.
Okay. I'm trying to log into College Press Box.
I don't know. I guess the elephant in the room is Sims. I guess that's kind of the main discussion about this whole game. Is honestly, I didn't think our defense did bad. I thought our defense looked good all the way up to about third quarter. Then it kind of seemed to kind of go downhill from there. But you also got to admit the defense was out there for 90% of our possession time, or the time of that we had, 90% of the game. anyway. I think they were out there the whole time. So
I think, much like the Minnesota game, the overall time of possession was just about even. But the problem is in crucial moments, it's during the time of possession, the defense was out there, for a majority of it. You look towards the second half, there wasn't a lot of ways that the offense were taking over. You look at the one QB, you look at the one Sims run that resulted in the touchdown, and then the offense didn't do a whole hell of a lot until late. And by then, the subs were in. It was the second stringers.
Yep.
Yeah. And now we got to deal with, Dion this, Colorado this. Yeah, I'm already sick of it.
Whiplash Joker 21 says, I went through the Amigos drive-through and ordered the Jeff Sims special, but got intercepted and spilled everywhere.
At least you didn't fumble it out the drive-through window. All right, just be happy about that.
First mistake was going to Amigos.
Oh, I haven't been there in a very, very long time. But
Amigos is good drunk food, though, as far as I'm concerned. Which I'm far too.
Well, then it's perfect after this game.
Yeah, I'm far too sober. There's no alcohol in my house. I think I need to change that. Just can't do it.
This whole fucking game, man. I was writing notes. I got 4 pages of goddamn notes, and I can't say a goddamn thing because the whole thing just ended horribly.
4 pages of notes?
Yeah, I got 4 pages of freaking notes.
Oh my god!
I don't know.
Go to the first page.
Yeah, let's start up front.
Maybe when you had some hope.
Yeah, the first page. A lot of good notes on the first page. Lots of them.
I couldn't even tell you the last time I took 4 notes in a college class over a decade ago. Let alone 4 pages of notes on a football game.
I'm just trying to get paid more. Isn't working. No, like we had good passing the first possession that we had the ball. Like Sims looked confident. He looked like he had everything in control in the passing. He had 2 completed passes. And then their defense, they had so many issues. I don't even know where to start with freaking notes, man. Like this whole thing it goes from so much to talk about, and then by third quarter, there's just absolutely nothing. I chimed out. So
I think what was really kind of odd at the beginning part of the football game was Sims had time to throw the ball, looked good throwing the ball, the passing game worked. And early, all of a sudden, the run game was just not there. And then all of a sudden, about midway through the second quarter, it flip-flopped. Running game was perfectly fine. And all of a sudden, the passing game just kind of went away. And you went, if we could put just any of that together, would have been fine, I think.
Well, I think in the first quarter, Colorado sold out against the run pretty heavily. In the first quarter, we were running pretty much like inside zone and outside zone plays, probably just to see how they were going to, if we could just do that and gain yardage. And then I think as the possessions went on, we started running some counters and things like that where, we were pulling guys, and the blocking on those looked better than it did against Minnesota. But then they didn't sustain it. I mean, they didn't. I think, here's the thing. My memory is bad enough. I have to go back and look at things to remember exactly the sequence of things. But it seemed to me the offense was doing fairly well right up until Sims asked for this snap right into the motion man. And then everybody was like, oh, fuck this shit again. And that's a big problem. I mean, that's a big problem in life when you are having a miserable time and everything's going wrong and something else. We all know this. Something stupid happens in your life that's just one more stupid thing. And you just go, oh, God, it's the end of everything. And it wasn't really anything that big or nothing you could recover from. But it's just one more thing that blows up a dam or, people go into meltdown mode. And I think after that, I don't know how these guys are going to be confident with Jeff Sims as quarterback going out to play football. I don't know how I guess that's a coach's job to be a mental health counselor in that case, because that's really what it is, we're going to be fine. Everything's going to be okay. And you're like, yeah, until the next fumbled snap he just looks at. That's the thing that bugged me is that it was like he looked at the ball and said, well, somebody should get that. Maybe that's wrong. I don't
But
know.
he did the same fucking mistakes in the Minnesota game. I'm sorry, but the same fucking mistakes. Having the ball hiked into the motion man. What the hell? He did that in Minnesota as well. And then this constant fumbling of the ball. Like, I don't get it. And then I guess my cousin said it best is how bad of a spirit breaker must it be for the secondary quarterback or the third string when this guy is out there constantly throwing the fucking game and you still aren't allowed to come into the game that at least try. I mean, you've been working your ass off in practice to be a starter, and this guy is just out there giving the games away. What does it take to get in there? And with Grant, he fumbled once and we took him out.
Yeah.
I mean,
let me look up the notes.
And the very first fumble, which he put a hand on instead of falling on, he falls on that. That gives Avana that's a field goal attempt opportunity. It reminded me a lot of when, in the Super Bowl, when Peyton Manning and the Broncos won the Super Bowl against Cam Newton and the Panthers. There was a fumble snap. Cam Newton didn't even dive for it. Denver picked it up and ran it into the end zone. Sims, all you got to do is fall on it. Just don't try to pick it up. And all of a sudden he goes to pick it up, doesn't palm it cleanly. Hand comes off it. And there's a guy diving on the ball ready to go. It's those kind of hustle plays that you have to sit there and think just a little bit more effort would be appreciated, and you probably retain possession there.
Yeah. Let me look at some I start some comments. Let's see. Never mind me. 7 turnovers in a single player in 2 games. Bench that bum ass QB. Dude single-handedly cost both of our game. Well, yeah, he did. Jesus, there's not really any way around that. Okay, here's a Colorado dude. Joe Higashi, legit leg kick, says, Coronation, I came to say I told you so. See you bald. They did. They did. You're right. They did. Down the road, they played a hell of a lot better than Nebraska did. They made their plays. We didn't make our plays. Todd owes us a truffle shuffle. And if Todd isn't there, then Brian Anderson should honor his bet.
How the hell did that fall to me?
As a Nebraska faithful, we told you. Okay, Joe Higashi, Todd does Monday night show, so you have to come back Monday night, and you have to you can't just throw it at Brian Anderson. He's a new guy. I can't do that to him, right? Do you know how to do a shuffle, truffle, whatever the fuck this is?
A truffle shuffle, yeah.
You do?
I was a fat kid in school. Of course I got told to do it all the time.
Oh my God. I have no idea. House Many Productions gives us a $1.99 super chat and says, Bo Pelini took the last bit discipline the program had.
No.
I mean, he was capable of blowing up the program better as he left, but that was about it. But
the thing is we got Rule. Rule is a guy that's going to turn shit around, and if he doesn't, in 4 years, I think he's going to step his own self out of the equation. But look at Rule's every first year at every college that he's coached for. It was a shit first year everywhere he went. Now, granted, Baylor had a lot worse situation starting off with that whole thing, but every first year with Rule was bad. The second year, way better. Third year, awesome. So it's just going to take time. He's a rebuilder, and I don't know what to say to that, but I think Pelini did not take the last bit of discipline. I think we have it now. It's just going to take time to get it.
Carl Sykes Sr. says, you all happy they fired Bo? Can I just this was how many years ago, for God's sakes? Why do these things keep coming up? I mean, it's like, they fired Frank Solich and everything went to hell. I mean, it's honest to God, 22 years since we fired Frank Solich.
No,
I mean, I'm not going to say let it go, but I don't know. I guess it keeps coming up.
I miss winning more football games. If that's the part I miss about Bo Pelini. I miss beating the people we are supposed to beat. It just doesn't happen anymore. That's the problem.
House Money Productions with another $1.99 super chat. Rule did that at programs with zero expectations. What do you think of that?
Yeah, that's fair. And even Matt Rule has come out and said that Nebraska has had more talent than what he dealt with at Temple and Baylor. Granted, Baylor was basically skinned to start off with to go their first season. Temple has never been a huge football program. Yes, the expectations are here comparatively to everybody else. Unfortunately, these are going to take time. It's going to take time. And with a lot of Scott Frost guys, it was just undisciplined ball. And right now you're seeing that out of your starting quarterback, who unfortunately Matt Rule brought in. So a lot of people are going to just point the finger at Rule right now and say, this one's on you.
Rule, I would ask this. What the hell does expectations have to do with success? I mean, for us as fans, we're not directly involved in coaching and recruiting. And you know what I mean? People are always like, it's sad to see that the expectations have dropped to just get to a bowl game. Like I like to gab about this stuff and I swear a lot, but I don't think I really have much influence on what's going to happen on the field.
We could still possibly get a bowl game this year. Look at the Big Ten right now. I mean,
oh my God,
this whole thing's a shit show. Like, there's nothing good going on right now.
I would like to point out the Big Ten West is still officially accomplishable.
Yeah.
It's so bad. Did you guys watch Illinois against Kansas?
Oh my! Well, I have Spectrum, so that would be a no. So I had to follow it on my phone, just Gamecast it. But even then, Illinois. I got to watch Illinois against Toledo last week, and I wasn't sure how the hell Illinois pulled that one out. The Big Ten West is just enough of a train wreck where you go, maybe, just maybe, 5-7 might win the division this year.
Oh my God, it might.
Just maybe. You never know.
Illinois, well, Illinois lost Ryan Walter, the defensive coordinator of Purdue. Purdue lost their first game to Fresno State and looked bad doing it. Illinois' defense, that was the part that shocked me against Kansas. Kansas just went through them like butter until the second half, and Kansas let off the gas a little bit, and then all of a sudden it was, Illinois started gaining ground on them and made it a little bit interesting, but it wasn't. Illinois just doesn't. I thought they would be much better, and they're not. Maybe they'll get better as this year goes on, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think Illinois lost a lot more talent than we expected. Or, they have one, maybe two good defensive linemen, and for some odd reason, the rest of the defense went bye-bye.
Yeah.
And their quarterback play with Altmaier is not overly spectacular either, let's be honest.
All right, what else we got here? Wait, Austin M says this fan base is too toxic, though, too. Austin, I think that's every fan base in college football that pays attention to the football team, unfortunately. I mean, one of the games I really want to watch today is Texas versus Alabama, and I want to go on Twitter, and I want to see Texas just shit themselves and melt down, and, because they're going to be as bad as we are. That's what brings me joy about college football, is watching other people's pain.
Yeah, sometimes it's not about your own team sucking. It's about old teams that you just hate with a fire pit. It's good to watch them just be terrible too. Oh yeah.
Okay, Paul says maybe Rule will have Satterfield drop 2 toes. Okay, and then what the hell is this? House Money Productions comes back with a super chat. No different than not meeting profitability in a company. Well, that is true. I mean, you either perform or you get fired. It's all of a matter of time. Noah Chestnut comes in with a super chat. What do you think of Sanders' kid saying he has no respect for Nebraska now after apparently the team went to some no Buffalo place in pregame? Did you guys see that comment?
Yeah, I saw it. I honestly don't give a shit. I hate them, and I can't wait for their next couple games when they actually face actual teams. And I see the Sanders kids laying on their backs again. And that was one takeaway from this game. He got sacked 8 times, right? I think it was 8.
Yep.
Greatest parts of the game, watching that kid get knocked on his ass.
And what unfortunately the bad part is he still threw for almost 400 yards. And you just kind of look around and you go, how? It's not like Nebraska's defense played that poorly. And you just kind of look around and you go, where did the score really get away from us?
Well, you know what? You guys keep going. Brian, you have administrative control, right?
Yeah.
You know how to star comments. You can go ahead and you click on a comment and it'll show the
Yep. But I'll
comment.
get those. Yep. Get a little star thing and all that
Take
stuff.
care of that, and you know what? I'm going to look at something up real quick on the game book.
There was multiple times in the last couple of years under Scott Frost that you would sit there and watch a game go by the wayside, where you'd sit there and you go, it's not like Nebraska got blown out, and then you'd all of a sudden look up and 10 minutes later in the game and you went, how did we get down 3 scores? You go, when the hell did this happen? It's not like we've been playing that poorly. Today I felt like was one of those games where 13-0 at half, you weren't really out of it. Sims runs for the touchdown. All of a sudden, I'm jacked up. I'm sitting there going, all right, now this is the second half we need. Get a stop here. And unfortunately, Nebraska didn't get the stop. Colorado turns around and scores, and you're all right, just now find one stop down the road, but you've got momentum. And then it just kind of went sideways, and all of a sudden Colorado went and put up a couple more points, and you went, where did this get away from us that bad or that quickly?
I think it's when the defense is out there playing their asses off, and every time the offense gets out there for less than a couple minutes, all of a sudden the ball's getting turned back over. It's kind of just a confidence killer. It's just going to keep killing the defense, and that's just it. You got an offensive player that what's his name, Weaver.
Yeah,
Weaver was just all over the place with multiple defenders on him, and we still couldn't stop him. It was just kind of sad to see him just running wide open sometimes. And I think at that point, defense is just tired. I mean, look at how much defense was playing compared to offense. It's just insane.
Yeah.
Well, one thing from the game book, which is the official scoring thing, they had total offensive plays. They have 77 to our 63. Average game per play for us was 5.4. For them, it was 5.9. So you look at the field position that was given up on turnovers, and then you add in their extra possessions, because that's basically what it is, and there you get the game.
In the first half, you started. I think the very first possession we started on our own 1, and then it slowly inched up as the half went along to the point where I was excited, where we started outside our own 25. And I think that might have been the possession we had I think that was the possession for the missed field goal towards the end of the half. And then you just Sims not staying in bounds to make Colorado burn its last time out kind of hurt.
Yeah.
And then for some odd reason, the clock didn't start on the referee's whistle, so it gave them an extra 2 seconds, which then gave them a field goal. It's just a few things here and there that you kind of went, yeah, all right, here's 10 points, 13 by a mental mistake by the time it was all said and done at half. And that was your 13 at half. In an ideal situation, that game should have been maybe 3-3 at half. No better than what Minnesota was last week.
Yep.
But sorry if you can hear my kid in the background. She's having a lot of fun, which is, odd for Husker fans.
There is a settings under audio that you can eliminate. You can reduce background noise. Let's see. Yeah. Philip.
There we go.
Puyo. I assume that's how you put it. Philip Puyo says, Buckeye fan here. Rule will get it together for you boys soon enough. Have faith and bench Sims. It's pretty much all in one. And then Fred comes in with a super chat and says, 500th time today we gave this game away. Quarterback couldn't handle snaps, weren't playing 85 Bears, inexcusable. Should at least split first 2 games. I don't disagree with that at all.
Yeah, one of those you needed to come away with.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, we have moved in the Iowa State game. We have moved to the Jack Trice story, which means that the game must be getting boring.
Yeah, it's 20-3 Iowa with 3 minutes to go in the third, and Iowa State hasn't been moving the ball much.
Have they mentioned the Gamblers Anonymous stuff?
For which team?
For the both. This is the Gamblers
Yeah.
Anonymous Bowl,
This
isn't
is
it?
this, winner gets the Cy-Hawk trophy. The loser, tries again on a parlay next week.
Well, switching to Northwestern is leading UTEP 28-7. So, my God, there's a loss for Nebraska there, right there. Northwestern's turning it around against UTEP. We'll watch this game for a little bit.
The way we've played against two teams so far, I'm not so sure we'd beat UTEP, let alone
I-
Northwestern. That's a
Will
bad
Durant Will Durant was, what does Sims have to do to get pulled? Well,
Sleep
I
with
don't
that rule's
know.
wife.
I don't know. I really don't. I know that Sims has a nil contract, and maybe it's in the contract that he has to start games or something. I don't know.
I had seen a comment earlier where somebody said fucking Sanders paid Sims to throw this.
Well, and I saw a comment on John's recap on coordination that somebody goes either Sims has a hell of a deal going on, or he's got a picture of Rule with a goat. And I commented, I go, I'd like to see the picture of the goat because maybe it's a good looking goat. I'll just get past it. Find us a different quarterback right now, can we? Who knows?
What? Well, I got that up there. Ronnie just something fucking whatever it is. Just says, just here to witness your pain. Well, I'm glad that we could be here for you, Ronnie.
Yeah.
We are the people that keep giving to others. We give you touchdowns. We give you the football. We give you our pain. There you go.
It's the constants in life that, consistency. That's
Carl,
what's missing.
Carl Sykes Sr. says Ben Stiller would be a better quarterback. Oh, God.
You're in my world now, Grandma. Read the name tag. I'm the quarterback now.
Noah Chestnut, Super Chat. How many points does Oregon or USC drop on Colorado? 55-70. Whew. I haven't. Go ahead.
I can see it happening. The problem is whether or not Colorado keeps up in that track meet. That's not the concern about whether or not Colorado's defense gives up that many. I'm more concerned as to whether or not Oregon's defense is good enough to keep them under that exact same total.
Yeah, Brian, what do you think about those games?
Oregon, defense not so great, but I think their offense is going to outscore Colorado easily. USC, it's going to be a shit show for Colorado. Almost guarantee it.
At least with Oregon, is that game at Oregon, Colorado at Oregon, or is that at Folsom?
I thought they were going to Oregon.
Because if it's at Oregon, then I'm going to feel real bad for whoever draws the short stick to be Puddles that week because their arms are going to be tired from the push-ups again. The 536 they had, that poor bastard had last week when they played Portland State. Not going to be any better this year for that game in particular. There's only so many push-ups you can do.
Mike Schuster says, John in the bathroom again. Okay, here's the real story, the behind-the-scenes story. I got up. I said, I'm just going to go do this in the bathroom. My wife's like, "What? Why are you doing this? Don't do it in the bathroom." Because my bathroom, it never gets cleaned. And there's spiders and spider webs in my bathroom because other people don't want to use it then. And she's like, please tell people that it's your bathroom and I don't clean it and it's your problem. And so I did in the video. So that was the deal with the bed. Plus I thought I should walk out, and I thought I'm just exhausted from this. I'm just going to go do it in the bathroom again and get it over with.
I surely thought you were going to be on the sidewalk laying down again with this one.
I didn't think of that. That was, oh God, where have we gone here?
I think at this point in time, eventually it's just going to start transferring from just inside the bathroom to John's just going to have a laptop set up just in the bathtub, trying to relax with a glass of wine or something, and it's just going to take a really weird turn from here.
Vince, let's see. I just saw the beginning of this. Vince Watson, Rule and Satterfield won't bench Sims because that would be admitting they made the wrong choice, like it or not. We are stuck with Sims till the offensive line gets him hurt enough. Well, I tell you what, Matt Rule, when we did his post-game presser, his staff tried to cut it short, And he said, no, I feel like a game after this that I need to answer all the questions, which, that's a stand-up guy at least. And he's been honest so far during the offseason. I can see that, he's probably going to be pretty honest going forward. He can't just come out and say Jeff Sims is terrible, because you can't. I mean, imagine your boss telling the world that. That's something your boss brings you into his office and says, on the last project you were pretty fucking awful. You should be fired, but I'm gonna hopefully will do better and you've learned from your mistakes. I don't have somebody to replace you right now. Otherwise I would. That's something you say to your guys like in their office. You don't say it to the world. So,
although it might boost the defensive confidence a little bit more if he just walked in the room and just said, we're getting rid of that fucking bum. So
that's the other part of it. There is the rest of the team you work with that has to deal with this stuff.
Matt Rule walks into a defensive meeting and just goes, all right, show of hands. Who wants Jeff Sims to start next week? Who would like a different quarterback? And write in your vote from here. We'll go that.
Let's see. Felix, didn't Satterfield call games like this at South Carolina? I'm not sure what he means like this.
It's possible, but if you gave me the option of Jeff Sims, who's been turnover prone throughout his entire career, or a guy like Spencer Rattler, give me Spencer Rattler. I'm sorry, but South Carolina, the QB situation is a little bit better there than it is here.
A QB runs the show. If you don't have a QB that's running the offense properly, the offense goes nowhere. And that's the problem. Satterfield's calls aren't bad. It's just you have a guy that's not running the offense correctly. And every time they start getting ahead and they start getting close to the goal line and all of us are sitting there grabbing our beers about ready to celebrate, Sims somehow fucks it up every time. And I'm sorry, it's not Satterfield at this point. It's you got a QB that you're relying on to run that offense properly and to keep the ball safe, and he just keeps doing first grader shit. I don't know what you expect. Any offensive coordinator is going to have an issue with a QB that's doing this type of shit. It ain't your play calls at this point. So,
then he had two really good passes that were drops on third down plays. I mean, he had a pass to, what was it, Alex Bullock? That was a nice play for a third down pickup that was dropped. And then he had a pass to, was it Fedoni?
Yeah, Fedoni dropped one.
Yeah, so it's not like he's getting a whole hell of a lot of help from his receiving core either.
No.
And what's sad is Colorado had more drops than we did.
Yeah.
I think they had probably 4 or 5. One was a surefire touchdown. One or two of them. Actually, I think 2 of them were probably surefire touchdowns that they held on to it, and the other 2 were at least first downs.
Okay, wait a minute. Keep going. Okay, Ketchum 63 says, can this offense score enough points to beat Northern Illinois? Put in Harburg now. That's going to be a problem, isn't it? I mean, you can score. You can win a lot of games with an offense that scores maybe 24 points, but you can't win very many games with a offense that can only score 14. I mean, there's too many things that happen in a game, and everybody has football players somewhere. So, I mean, if we can't put up more than 10 or 14 points against Northern Illinois, I don't know what game we're going to win the rest of the season, honestly. So
yeah, that's going to be troublesome. A lot of people I know. You look at like Iowa, who I'm watching right now. Iowa's up 20-3, and there's still going to be people who are pissed off. Iowa fans are pissed off that they're not, putting up 35-40, and you're like, that's just not how Iowa operates. They're designed to beat you, scoring 20-24. Nebraska has a defense that's good enough for that, but unfortunately the offense just isn't performing to get to that number yet.
Okay, Gavin Sutler says Matt Rule picked Sam Darnold, then Baker Mayfield, and now he's got Jeff Sims. How many great quarterbacks does Rule have to pick to gain your confidence? A trio of legends. I don't know Matt Rule's history at Carolina because the Carolina Panthers are not a team I would ever follow in any circumstance. I followed the NFC Norris division, and that's about it. my family has like a fantasy draft just with my family, and I pay attention to who's in the NFC North, everybody else. But do you guys know more about what happened at Carolina with quarterbacks? Didn't he go through like Cam Newton and
Well,
I don't know.
he got there after Cam Newton. I
Okay.
will say this though. I know Sam Darnold hasn't been great in the NFL. I know Baker Mayfield hasn't been great in the NFL. Those two guys were very solid college quarterbacks, however. And right now, if maybe you can even develop Sims later throughout the year, and if he even comes back and starts next season, because you potentially redshirt Kalen, which hopefully that doesn't happen. But if you deal with that and he does get better, then great. But Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, great college quarterbacks who just weren't quite suited to be good enough in the NFL. That I wouldn't put on Matt Rule. That's just the organization who happened to sign those two guys. But it's
what is this?
Rob a store? That was what is somebody was saying Sims would have to rob a store for him to not be able to play. But the problem is he wouldn't be able to hold on to the items that he stole long enough.
Oh my God. Wow.
We've already had somebody rob a store. It didn't go so well. You need to go the Johnny Rogers route, all right? Just be really, really good and just go knock off a convenience store. Just do it that way.
Oh, here's a super chat for Noah Chestnut. When was the last time the defense kept two teams under 60 rushing yards?
That's a phenomenal question. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, it is.
But, I mean, Minnesota is known to be more of a running team, and to hold them under 60 was, I thought, phenomenal. And to keep Colorado, even as they tried to open up, even as the holes kind of opened up late in the contest, even then, they still didn't have very many big runs. I think their biggest run was 12 yards, maybe?
Yeah, I had that written down. It was 12 yards.
That's pretty phenomenal. They had 58 yards rushing on 33 attempts for 1.8 yards per carry. Now they did have 2 rushing touchdowns where they got really close down there, and whatever. Yeah. But I mean, the last time we kept 2 teams under, I don't know. It's been a very, very long time.
I would have to imagine Sue's group accomplished that, but yes. That would be my guess.
Okay, and then Murph Dog Brewing Company piles on after the play is over, sir, and says the last time the defense kept 2 teams under 60 yards and still lost. Ow.
I can answer that question.
What?
The last 2 games. I win.
That's a good point. Oh God,
that one's an easier question actually. This week and last week.
Austin M. I think giving Heinrich the start in the next 2 games may do a lot for his development. They may also be games that he can win. If let's say Jeff Sims isn't the starter, what do you got?
Heinrich.
Yeah, I think it's Heinrich Harburg. Now
he's good at running, and he can keep up with their plays. I mean, that would be the only.
So I can do a little bit of a scouting report. I grew up in Kearney. I went to Kearney Catholic, which is where Heinrich Harburg went to high school. I'm familiar with the offenses they ran. It's a lot of shotguns. Yes, they threw the ball around the yard a lot. But if Harburg needed to use his feet, he could. Now, it's a little bit of a different animal in the college game from the high school game because, yes, the talent just takes a large step up. But I think given the time, Harburg looked fine throwing the football. One kind of got a little amped up, overthrew a guy. Another one was a drop. Bedoni made a decent play to probably keep the pick off the board. But give Harburg time. Kid can spin the ball. I've watched him for the last couple years in high school. He's all right. He will be just fine. You won't need him for his legs. If the running game can do what it did throughout most of this game, the offensive line opened up plenty of holes for guys like Irvin and Ramir. Fine. Don't need the quarterback. Just have the quarterback take care of the football, throwing the ball. Harburg will be okay with doing that.
And I think Heinrich's first play, wasn't it a run? And he actually got the first down with that run. And I think he knocked down a couple Colorado players getting that yardage.
Yeah, he ran over Shiloh Sanders doing that, which was, hilarious.
Yeah. So I mean, the kid's got strength on the run. So I don't know how he is on passing though. I mean, we haven't really seen him pass a whole lot.
No, he hasn't been used for that at Nebraska quite yet. But like I said, when I got to watch him in high school, he was good.
Mike Ferrazzo says Rule lost a lot of respect keeping Sims in the game. Yeah, you have to wonder how many games we're going to win with this going on. Okay, Gavin.
But here's the thing though with that. If Rule brings in Heinrich next game and we get our asses kicked, are those type of fans going to sit there and blame Rule for bringing in a different quarterback then?
Well,
I mean, what's the options here? I mean, nobody's going to be freaking happy with either way we go with this.
Yeah, it's either your starter turns the ball over a lot and loses, or Harburg comes in and then we don't move the ball around a lot and we still lose. It's people are going to be angry anytime we lose, me included. It's just we'll find something. Trust me.
Gavin Stetler says, "What is the over/under for when Nebraska fans realize they made another terrible hire? 2.5 years." Yeah, that's about it. It's probably 3 years. So,
yep.
I mean, when Mike Riley hired, it's literally at Corn Nation in an article where I said, if this guy can do something, then he's going to be fine. If not, he's just going to be a placeholder for 3 years. So, yeah, it is 3 years. And I mean, if you don't like that, then you can, I guess, complain about it. But we made a hire. He's made his coaching hires. He can change his coaching hires. But Nebraska's not just going to fire Matt Rule in the next 2 years just because, people don't like him, that he's not winning right away. So that's how it is, man.
And I think, too, people will look at this and go, Nebraska's 0-2, and you look at a team like Colorado who nobody really has any idea, and they're 2-0 right now. And everybody's like, well, why can't you be like Deion Sanders? I got news for you. Deion Sanders is probably doing something a little more special than a lot of people are going to realize in the end. Credit to them for having everybody prepared and doing what they did to win these 2 football games. Programs you don't catch lightning in a bottle a lot like that. Colorado is going to end up being the 8-4 this year, I would say. If they get lucky and keep doing what they're doing, they'll be fine. Nebraska is going to take a little bit longer, which is, again, the more traditional way, but would be considered the right way. So it's got to be a little bit patient. Yeah, it's 2 games in and it's not looking pretty, but you're going to have to give it time.
Oh, let's see. Mike Ferrazzo again comes back. Why would a backup stay if they keep Sims in? Well, Heinrich Harburg's a Nebraska boy. That's why he'd stay. And Chubba Purdy has already taken one of his transfers. So if he transfers again, he's going to have to sit a year. That's probably one big reason why. Matt Sarah says Sims just got a deal for the candy bar, Butterfingers. Nice, very nice. Good job.
Yeah, that's done. That's well done.
Intensive Care Bear says, what happens when Deion leaves? Will he take his roster with him and leave Colorado worse off?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I think what is this? Come on. Shiloh, his son that plays safety, is a senior, right?
Yep.
And then Shadir is eligible for the draft at the end of the season. I think that's a little early to be drafted myself, but there's a lot of season to play out. So here's the thing. I did the interview Friday night with Jack Barsh, who was a Buffalo guy, and I think really he had the right attitude. Even if Deion Sanders leaves in 2 years, Colorado is way better off to having him for a coach than never having him at all, because their program was a complete wasteland up until this point, and they took a chance on a guy that a lot of people believe is a firebrand, and so far it's paid off immensely. They have donations from people that have paid his salary. They have Nebraska fans buying the tickets to the game for at least one of them to give them a bunch of money, and God knows how much we spent, probably in Boulder, on weed and alcohol, hookers and blow, shit like that, to make ourselves feel better. So their program is going to be much better off. Plus, Jack also brought up the fact that there in the past have been a lot of roadblocks for them for recruiting, for like academics, and Sanders apparently made those things go away because that was one of his contingencies on being hired. So they're still going to be better off. I think Nebraska has everything in place in terms of resources and everything we need to build a program. We just need to hire the right personnel. And, Matt Rule we're 2 freaking weeks into the real season of this. So, everything pretty much okay. I'll just say this, and you guys in the comments, and you guys can react to it. Everything about this team is better than it was last year, except for the quarterback position.
I would agree with that. Offensive line play, the running game was not overly spectacular at all, and we've put up probably 200 plus yards rushing per game so far this year. When was the last time we put up 200 yards in a game, in any game last season would be the main thing. Overall, protection wise, pass blocking, fine. Wide receiver, probably the weakest group of all, but defense has been overly spectacular, which is great. It's kept you in ball games. Now if they can just find that little extra little bit of Iowa where they could, create a couple scores, that would be huge. But I think outside of Sims's turnovers, this team is more fundamentally disciplined than what we've seen in the last 3-4 years.
Okay, I guess the receiving core is probably worse off than they were last year because, of pretty much, let's face it, Trey Palmer is not with us anymore.
Yeah.
And that guy made a huge difference. Noah Chestnut, the biggest change for the transfer portal is you shouldn't be able to transfer to a team your coach is hired at. I guess I'd ask why not. I mean, your coach left. Shouldn't you be able to leave?
Yeah, and a lot of guys turn around and actually probably follow their coaches because of that.
Well, Sanders did that, obviously.
Right. Yeah, it helps to be the coach's kid.
Let's see. You got check mark Nebraska. What a last name that guy has. I don't blame Rule. I blame Satterfield. He's another idiot that doesn't belong in the Big Ten. Well, I think we're going to find out more as it goes along. I think that his running game, if executed, can be pretty good. I'm not sure about his passing game, but then we don't really have the players or the personnel to fully execute a passing game.
I mean, we did get to see the option today for 9 yards?
Yeah, was it? It was only
I think
one play, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was one play. I think it went for 9 yards. I mean,
yeah. They ran that out of the shotgun though, didn't they?
I don't remember.
Not the I formation on that one.
I think we had one speed option that Sims kept the ball and gained about 4. What the hell am I doing here? Gavin Statler says Nebraska scored like 12 points in the first 2 games, and now they talk about how much better they are. That's because our defense is much better. Our special teams, I think, is better. Most of the offense is better for the quarterback and probably the receiving core. I mean, you got to build these pieces a little bit at a time. Yeah, put it this way. Last year's defense would have given up 45 points easy to Colorado.
Last year's defense wouldn't have hit anybody this year.
Tackling has been far better.
God, yeah.
They're actually throwing themselves and tackling, and it's awesome to see the hits now. Before it was just playing like touch football.
And how many games did it take the defense last year to come up with 8 sacks to start the year, let alone in one game? I mean, the defensive line has been getting a lot of pressure with just the front 3. It's been phenomenal. Tony White brings the heat when necessary, but he hasn't had to do that a whole lot because the front 3 have done a phenomenal job.
But that's what makes this game so fucking frustrating is we have 8 fucking sacks, and we still are sitting there going, look how good the defense is. But then we couldn't stop pass plays that were just like, what the hell, wide open shit. And then other times, all of a sudden, they're just, and they don't even have a good offensive line, and we still can't seem to get enough time What was it that Shadouche freaking ran away for like 30 seconds and nobody could tackle him, and he still threw
Right.
it? It's like, what the hell?
That was the 2-point conversion play, which they almost converted, and then Shadouche turned around and took his helmet off on the wrong sideline because he forgot what side of the field he was on.
I'm glad Shadouche is catching on, because that's what I've been calling him since it started, and that's the new thing that's going to happen now.
I'm with you on that.
Well, apparently he's playing up the Nebraska disrespected them thing a lot. So
he's pulling the Michael Jordan, has to talk shit and
yeah, exactly.
make up
Yeah,
the shit and everything else.
Green Ninja. So after 2 games, would y'all take Frost back or stick it out with Rule?
Stick it out with Rule. Duh.
Whoever allowed Frost to have 5 years ought to be shot. I'm sorry, but that's just how it should be. That guy wasn't even coaching. At least with Rule, you can see that there's actually coaching happening. Frost was too busy getting hookers and getting drunk, and that was it.
I think you're supposed to say allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah, don't want to get in trouble. So
okay. James Boardman comes in with, can you imagine the snapping issues if we still had Jurgens and Sims at the same time? Holy hell.
Oh.
You know what it would be? It'd be exciting. That's what it would be.
Every play is either a snap at watching Cam Jurgens trying to snap the ball to Jeff Sims would be a lot like when Jamal Lord tried to throw a pass to Wilson Thomas. It's either 10 feet too short or 10 feet too far. One of the two. You know what you're going to get. It's just which one.
Okay, James Marshall, the offensive line isn't better. They proved it today. I think they carried through on some of their blocks, especially on some of the counter plays, better than they did at Minnesota. I don't think when it came to straight up blocking, but you'd have to go back and look at the game. Here's the thing with blocking. There were plays that was pretty obvious where Nebraska was going to run the ball. And on those plays, Colorado kind of stacked up on the line. And you can't, it's impossible to block 6 people with 5 guys. It's just how it works. So on a lot of those plays, we're running at them trying to gain yardage, and they just simply have too many men for us to block. And that's where you put in the counters, the mixed directions, or what the hell was that one play where Sims went up the middle? That was like an inverse veer or something. I used to know this stuff a lot better than I do now, which is why we have Haas. We'll do a breakdown of this with Greg and the overreaction stuff. We're going to try to do as many shows and see what's going on. Haas knows offense pretty well.
And I thought too, eventually at some point in time when they would stack the box, where was the screen game at? I haven't noticed one screenplay yet, and
That's a good point.
I kind of thought, if you're going to do that, let them bring the heat. If the run game is working well, let them bring the heat, stack the box, and then turn around and hit them with the screen. Perfect. You got 3 offensive linemen looking for probably Travis Hunter and whoever else.
Okay, Josh Briggs says, yeah, Brian keeps telling us how much CU sucks.
They do suck, and they're going to lose their next 2 games. But we just suck more today.
Evanception says, be honest, how many games left are realistically winnable for Nebraska?
6.
You think so?
I think so. I think 6. After seeing how everything's playing out right now, I think 6 is winnable.
Okay. So
I think the next 2 for sure are winnable. And then Iowa, I think we can win. I got to look at the whole schedule again. I don't remember every
Northwestern should be a win.
Northwestern definitely. Purdue should be. Illinois
hasn't been impressed. Yeah, Illinois hasn't. Illinois just is one of those. It should be a win the way they've played recently.
Michigan State, kind of a toss-up.
Yeah, you expect them to be maybe not as bad as last year, but you kind of hope they are.
Yeah. Michigan's a loss. I know that one.
Maryland at home scares me.
Yeah.
If I'm honest.
You know what? Mike Corrigan keeps asking, what about that? Where is that? Dang it. What about the punt and no roughing call?
He got pushed into the punter.
Yeah, I think that's what happened is Polar Bear kind of just went ole, grabbed him and right into Buschini. So I think that's why that didn't get nearly as much TV coverage as a lot of people would have liked.
They didn't even mention it on TV. They didn't notice, or they didn't say a damn thing about it.
No, they showed the replay, but then that was
I had to
was
rewind it. I had to rewind it to watch it again just to make sure I didn't see it inaccurately. And he was kind of shoved right into him. It was a good no call on that.
Aaron Ken says, "Where's the damn fullback?"
Blocking the ball to get to Sims.
Yeah. They're using the fullback on some of those, for a lead blocker, a guy that's basically like a trap blocker. So, the fullback really hasn't carried the ball, I don't think, hardly at all. But you know what? He hasn't. Let's go back and let's look at Nebraska's rushing. We had Gabe Irvin Jr., Jeff Sims, Ramir Johnson, Heinrich Harburg, and Luke Lindenmeyer. Luke Lindenmeyer had 1 carry for a 2-yard loss. So Lindenmeyer would be a fullback, wouldn't he?
Yeah, that was the recovery of the shotgun snap that almost ended up being a fullback end around.
Okay.
Or a fullback jet
that
sweep.
One. Good pickup. Josh Briggs comes back with next game's against Colorado State.
If Colorado doesn't win that one by 30 plus, then that's kind of a letdown game, in my opinion. Colorado State, if you think Colorado is bad, Colorado State is awful.
That's still like them to win.
Yeah.
Roger Rosen says, "Gentlemen, Nebraska's program has been gutted. How can Nebraska show incremental offensive progress to quell the masses?"
Next 2 games show what Heinrich could do if they take Sims out. Maybe progress him a little bit more, get him some time on the field.
I think also too is just keep watching what the offense is doing. It's again, I feel it's better than what it has been. Offense moving the ball hasn't been an issue. It's scoring this time around.
Maybe we should hold them to the same standard they held Brian Ferentz.
If that's the case, then Satterfield's getting canned after about next week.
Okay.
That will be possible now.
Jack 9016 says, "You guys are dreaming, lucky for 3 wins." Well, I guess, we'll see as the season goes on. Raymond. Ronnie on whatever the hell that name is. Why not throw to Coleman? I don't think Malachi Coleman even he wasn't in the game at all, was he?
I saw 2 shots of him in where I read his nameplate on the back. I just don't think he ever was involved in the passing game. That was the issue.
Oh, you know what? The participation report does show him in the game. In the game book. That's what I go by. I'm guessing why not throw to Coleman? Well, number one, they're having problems throwing the ball to anybody. And number 2, if he's still kind of not a big part of the offense, I don't know what you're going to do with him. I mean, we saw that, maybe Heinrich Harburg can throw the ball really long. Maybe.
I mean, he did throw one hell of a pass on that one. That was overshot by at least five yards. But I mean, the kid's got an arm.
Yeah.
If he has a really tall guy that's faster, though, that would be Malachi. Maybe Malachi Coleman and Heinrich Harburg.
That might be the matchup.
Yeah.
Could hope. Or Harburg and any Nebraska receiver would be the hope.
Noah Chestnut, what do y'all think of that true freshman that started in Ty's place? He looked good.
Yeah.
Cameron Lenhart, I'm guessing that's what he's talking about.
2 sacks in the first half. Yeah, he looked absolutely phenomenal. I was really impressed with how he played today.
Oh, God. Mike Ferrazzo says the real question will be, how many turnovers will Sims have this year?
I'd like to know the number he was going to put out there.
Then he puts in over under 30.
Oh, God.
Well, what was his stats last year at Georgia Tech?
Oh, God, I don't know. I forget.
I think he was number 1 in the nation, wasn't he, for the most?
I think so. It had to have been somewhere around the 20-ish area.
Yeah.
He's on pace to hit 30 by...
Oh, yeah, easily.
As of right now, he's on pace to hit that by Michigan.
Yeah.
Pretty-
if we
or-
keep playing him, right? I mean, the
or
key
pretty
here
impulsive.
is maybe they won't keep playing him at
Yeah.
quarterback all of the time. Intense Care Bear says 28.
Good guess.
First he said he's at the rate he's going like 38. Oh my God, this is terrible. Just terrible. Just says I'm just so
Just so
tired.
tired.
I think that's probably I probably should make that into a T-shirt.
So tired.
Let's be honest. And then he says, I'm not even mad anymore. And I got to be honest with you. When I did my post-game reaction video in the bathroom, I thought, I want to be angry about this, but I'm exhausted with being angry. And it's really, this is hard. I don't think anybody's going to say that this is easy because it isn't. I mean, we've all been watching the same shit over and over and over, and it's not very good football.
I think I stopped being mad about 4 years ago. I think I just kind of was like, no, I'll just watch them just because I'm a Nebraska fan. But after this, after the pain that we've suffered for so long, it's just kind of there's no point getting angry anymore.
I think for me, I've kind of lucked out. It's still early in the season where I'm still happily pissed off about just how terrible we've looked. So it'll work its way with the more losses as the year goes around. I think it's gone from all right being really mad to just not caring to back to being pissed off again. It's a new season, just a new set of rules. It's just new coach, new offense, new defense. Gives me new hope to be angry every time we screw the pooch.
All right, Fred Sacco with a super chat. I know Casey Thompson had shoulder
Surgery.
by God surgery, but still, if Rule believed a turnover machine like Sims was the best option, this calls into question talent evaluation. I think the problem there was that Casey Thompson wanted a lot more nil money, is what I had heard through the grapevine. And they weren't going to have two guys that they were going to pay a lot of nil money to. So one of them went out. And I think they felt like Casey Thompson was not going to be able to stand up, be physically able to perform the entire season. So they chose the guy that was going to be physically able to perform. And apparently he is, because he keeps giving the other team points. So there you go. Somebody's gaining from him, I guess.
And I think, too, Thompson really wasn't going to get an opportunity to show Matt Rule what he had with the shoulder surgery. I mean, he wasn't available for the spring game, and God knows he probably wasn't going to be available until midsummer. So Thompson wasn't going to be able to try to impress anybody until fall ball. And by then, it's almost too late. If your shoulder is fine, you can go be a starting quarterback somewhere else. Why not move? Why not transfer?
Jack 1990-16, have we settled on the talent versus coaching dilemma? Losing teams don't attract great quarterbacks. I'll let you guys go with that.
I really don't want to even. I'll let you go because I ain't got shit for that one.
For me, it's one of those. You can probably coach talented guys a little bit better, but the biggest problem with that is bad QBs. A lot of times it's not so much the talent, it's more of what they do in between the ears. Being the quarterback, it's a lot like what you see with, for anybody who golfs. It's a lot of that requires talent, yes, but more so it's what goes on in the conversation in between your own ears. And until you can kind of tell yourself, look, don't compound the mistakes. Mistakes will happen, yes, but don't compound it. Don't make things worse. Don't try to play hero ball. That's where coaching can help you out. And that's where the talent eventually will show up, is once the mental part of it goes bye-bye. And unfortunately, as Nebraska fans, mentally, we're fried too. At what point in time do we just say, all right, it's time to pick our own asses up? But right now we're just sitting there going, when the hell is this going to end?
Noah Chestnut with a super chat. I'm happily pissed off. That's a shirt I buy. Happily pissed off. How does that work?
What is me Monday through Friday? When I get to work?
Oh, that's a good point.
My alarm clock goes off. I have to go to work. Yeah, no, I'm already in a bad mood. That's good. Let's go from there.
Terrible says, I'd be surprised if we can keep Tony White in this clown house. Here's the thing with that. Everybody out there, everybody else knows that Matt Rule's second year is where he picks things up. Everybody does. That's been in past performance. And I'm throwing out the Carolina Panthers because the last time I checked, when was the last time Carolina was in the Super Bowl?
When they got beat by the Broncos. Peyton Manning's last year. Super Bowl 50.
So a long time ago.
Yeah.
I mean, the NFL is a completely different beast. I really, if you have success in the NFL, you're an NFL coach. He didn't have success in the NFL. He came back to college. But everybody knows that what he does is he builds for his second and third years where things pay off. So I think Tony White's happy to be coaching at Nebraska because we're still Nebraska, for God's sakes. Like I said earlier, we have resources for everything. And at some point this is going to turn around or we're going to keep trying. I don't know. I'd say that shit. And it feels like I've been saying the same shit for years, doesn't it? Oh my God. James Marshall. Oh, I'm a different James. James Fernhaber. Nebraska wears the turnover chain. Sims in particular. They didn't let Sims sit in the turnover throne. And they probably should have invited him over. But I guess they were too mad about the disrespect that we apparently showed them by standing on the logo or walking to the 50-yard line. And then Matt Rule said horrible things about Deion Sanders in the offseason, which he never did. God, this is making up a lot of shit, isn't it? Did you see Matt Rule, before the game was over, ran across the field to shake Deion Sanders' hand?
Gave him a hug, and he was talking to his ear while hugging him.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of shit talking must have been going on?
No shit. And then you get the Sanders disrespect. Fuck you guys. I want to like Deion Sanders. I do, but now he's he's made me hate him. There you go. Does anybody care?
No, because I hated Sanders before he got to this point.
Yeah, he was a D-bag when he played for the Cowboys. So, And also Matt Rule did the right thing and ran all the way over there because nobody wanted to see, America's golden boy have to limp halfway across the field,
Fred Sacco, if CT Casey Thompson wanted more nil here in Nebraska, then this shows the fragility and fickle nature of the new nil era. And if that's the case, most of the future is even more of a toss-up. I hate this.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, there's not really much arguing with that.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you want to go somewhere where you could make more money? I mean, isn't that the point?
I mean,
it was Casey Thompson's last year, wasn't it? Of playability. So why not go for money?
No.
Yeah.
He's not really looking at an NFL career at this point.
No.
Nope.
And I think if you look at who is it, Caleb Williams' dad came out and said, well, if the NFL draft position doesn't look good, then Caleb will just stay another year in college. Which, yeah, I mean, come on, you've dealt with this before, but now they have an extra incentive to stay in college because they're getting paid. But if you remember years ago, who was that guy that I hated that won a Super Bowl for Denver? John Elway. Remember when he got drafted? You guys are probably young. He was like, if I get drafted, I won't play. I'll go play baseball. I think that was him. But, whiny quarterbacks, I think they're like 50% of them are whiny quarterbacks, aren't they?
Probably more than that, really.
Okay, I was giving him credit.
Also, as a Bronco fan, don't you dare besmirch the good name of John Elway. But yes, he did complain coming out of Stanford that, when he was going to go first overall, he goes, I don't want to play for these guys. Find me somewhere. it also reminds me of the Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers situation, because Eli did not want to go play for the Chargers. Chargers drafted him and turned around and traded him to New York because Phillip Rivers went to New York and then got traded to San Diego. It was the same situation with that one too.
Okay, Clay Bush, the game has changed. You need a polarizing coach to bring in talent and one that's going to get the kids ready for the NFL. This is not the 80s. You don't have that culture anymore. Nebraska needs a culture shift.
So you want our coach to get on TikTok and brag about himself for fucking 6 hours every goddamn practice?
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's going for either.
A really good coach does it for 6.5, Brian.
Yeah, I guess, I'd say Nebraska needs a culture shift. I think Nebraska has done the culture shift. If you look around college football right now, you're seeing Dabo Sweeney doesn't want to deal with Neal, and he doesn't want to deal with the transfer portal, and he just got the shit beat out of him by Duke, for God's sake. So,
hold on. Clay says once again, you want more money for Nebraska, you're going to need a culture change. Fuck that.
I think we have money.
I was going to say, money is not the issue.
Yeah, that is not an issue here at all. In a culture change, how many people showed up for fucking Colorado's volleyball game?
Well, there is that.
How many people showed up for Colorado's football game today?
50,000. That's it.
And about 2/3 of that looked awfully red, you ask me.
Yep.
We paid all of their NIL deals for this year.
I'm not sure about the culture change, Clay. I think that Nebraska's embraced NIL. They've embraced all the changes that are going on in college football. I think we have a head coach that speaks very well. I think he speaks to players. You're going to compete with other teams for these players. And like Dylan Royal is going to go to Georgia because they're probably going to win another national title. That's going to be hard competition. Your culture change isn't going to change that. You have to start winning. And that, unfortunately, is the shitty thing that we're going to say is going to take more than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I was going to say it takes time, but it's going to take at least more than 2 weeks. So, okay, there you go. Noah Chestnut counters. Noah Chestnut counters with, we need a culture change. Back to what we were in the 90s. Without whiny, self-entitled pricks who won't put in the work. Yeah, there you go. Yes, kind of a better argument.
And with regards to the NIL, Nebraska was a key starter in all of this. And it's not like we don't have the money. People really have to understand, Nebraskans have nothing better to do with their lives. Make sure the cows are happy. Make sure the corn grows so we can feed all of your rest of your fat asses. And we watch Husker football and support Huskers athletics. That's it.
Ron says, why is this douchebag constantly cursing? Is that you, Brian?
Yeah, more than likely.
Because I normally, Ron, I am usually swearing my head off, but I don't have to because Brian is. So somebody needs to be, because that's how we get our, cursing actually comes from a different part of your brain than the rest of language. And actually it releases things that help you deal with situations better. So if you're a person that never curses, I think that you're probably keeping everything inside and you should see a therapist.
Yeah, you really
On the other hand, that's probably 90% of Nebraska fans right now need to see a therapist. By the way, Monday night show's called Monday Night Therapy. So if you want to show up for that, there you go. Linnea says you must have listened to Sanders' vids. I watch. Well, you know what? We cover this stuff, so we're kind of required to look at it. I mean, if Deion Sanders wasn't one of our opponents, I probably wouldn't have paid attention. But I do try to pay attention to a lot of college football because, as I said, other people sucking at this makes me happy.
If you want a fellow day ruiner, Iowa State got stuffed on a 4th and 1 because a tight end decided to block like he was a matador in a bullfight and got stuffed for a 2-yard loss. So I was going to win by 7. So if you really want, your day to go from bad to worse, I was just going to piss in my Cheerios too while it's at it.
Let's see there. M. Gaboski's a Michigan guy. He comes in. He's been here before. Well, not to this one, but he's been on our shows. I wish John great health. Thank you. Sorry, your team stinks. Thank you. kind of well, I guess that's just bluntly how it is, isn't it? You should come out to Colorado to climb a 14er to relieve. I don't know what that means.
Think a 14er means, I think, a 14,000 foot peak. I think it's kind of
type of climbing
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Hiking.
I think I should climb like a tour.
Could do that just driving to Colorado.
Yeah, well, I try to walk a lot, but thanks, M. Gabowski. 5280 Tom says, there's your Husker class. I don't know what that, where was it? Luke M says, I can't wait to see Texas clobbered. I'm with you on that.
I think.
I'm sorry. He follows it up. 5280 Tom. Rule runs across the field, so American's Golden's boy doesn't have to limp. You guys are real low class, and clean up your foul mouth. You guys sound like sour grapes. Go Buff. I personally have always preferred to stay in the riffraff and with the lower class people because they're a lot more interesting and a lot more fun. Clean up, Brian. Clean up your foul mouth, you son of a bitch.
Yeah,
it's funny that a Colorado person is telling us to clean up our act right now, because I was watching Connor's live video before we started this, and in the background there was Colorado fans telling him to go fuck himself.
Really?
About every 5 minutes when he was sitting there just having a live stream. It was we need to clean up our act. All right.
Yeah. And if Colorado fans had any sort of class, they would at least say, please go fuck yourself and thank you.
Yeah. You
show some
bitches from Colorado.
Show some dignity, asshole.
What? Okay. Clay Bush says nil money comes from sponsors and brands, not the university. So again, you need to change because Matt isn't that guy. He's referring to Matt Davidson. I'm not going to disagree with that. Matt Davidson is still involved with 1890. And I think you could have a very long discussion about whether people trust that, trust him being there and giving them money. And it doesn't all come from sponsors and brands. You have Pipeline Jerky out there selling jerky and they're collecting money from that. That's not going to really come from a sponsor and branded as much as it is from regular people contributing. And regular people can contribute to 1890, but I agree with him about the point about Matt Davidson. Honestly, I wish somebody would just do an interview with Matt Davidson, and Matt Davidson would come out and just either say, I'm sorry, this was all a fucked up mess. And, I don't even know if he has to say he's sorry, but tell me whether or not you were part of the disaster or you were like sucked into the disaster. One or the other. That would help, I think, a lot of people's faith in you. And I don't know Matt Davidson. I've never really been around Matt Davidson, but I would love for that to happen for Nebraska football and the whole Neil thing in the process. Okay. Oh my God, we're almost to 6:00. How long do you guys want to go?
I don't know. When's your bedtime, John?
Well, it's almost. Here's the thing. In order to minimize my headaches, I try to be very strict about eating at 8 a.m., noon, and 6 p.m. So that's really what I do. I mean, you guys can stay. You guys want to keep going?
Well, my wife is about ready to make dinner myself, or for us, and my 2-year-old decided today of all days that she doesn't need a nap. So I'm going to have to control a hooligan over here, I think.
Well, before we do go, for all you guys watching, go ahead and click that subscribe button. That'd be awesome. And go ahead and just click the bell. It's free. Doesn't cost you guys anything, and it helps us out.
Wow, you're prepared for this stuff.
Little shameless plug. And also in the video description, go ahead and join our Discord channel so you can be part of the Core Nation community.
There you go. We're starting something new, Discord. I'm an old man. I have used Discord some. I'm not that great at it, but let's get going with that. Linnea in Nebraska says, hit the like button. That does help our algorithm type stuff because everything's about the algorithm these days. You get the feeling that when AI takes over, it'll just be happy with the people who followed the algorithm, and the rest of everybody else will be like, oh, you didn't have a niche you fell into, so we have to get rid of you. Oh, wait a minute. Any more comments here?
Yeah, there's one, this one.
Lane Train says Rule well on his way to earning $1 million per loss, worse than Frost because he's making twice as much and winning even less. Well, okay, it's year one, game two, for God's sakes, Lane.
I'm gonna admit though, that's pretty damn funny.
It is.
Oh, wow.
That's excellent trolling right there. That's good. That's
It
good.
is pretty good. It is pretty good. Dion Pryor, how does this affect recruiting now? Well, I don't know if it
early.
does. It's early in the process. We're still bringing people in to be, here's the thing with the recruiting thing. You come to Nebraska, again, I'm going to bring up the resources thing. I think it's a matter of, do you fit at Nebraska? Again, are you building a team? Are things moving in the right direction? Do you feel comfortable with the coaches you're going to play for? That's what the recruiting process is. And then the big thing is this: am I going to get a play here? And by God, if you're a 5-star wide receiver and you're coming to Nebraska, you say, I'm going to Nebraska because I can beat out all these sons of bitches. Yep. So recruiting I mean, come on. When you were 17 or 18 years old, 16 years old, did you have everything in mind that you wanted to do with your life? I mean, some kids are going to pick a place because they hate red or they like red, Yep. Or they like the Migos. I don't know. Those are all things that happen.
You come here if you want to play football and you want to get better. You go to Colorado if you want a social media presence when you're 40. So that's about it.
Okay, Joe says Nebraska has won 4 of its last 20 games. We weren't counting, but thank you, Joe, for bringing that up. I'm calling a therapist after I get done with this show. James Boardman shows that the quarterback position is open. Thank you, James. That's a good point. Derek Jones, if that's his real name, says Shadir Brady or Shadur Brady.
Oh,
no.
Oh, God.
That's a nice shot. It is a nice shot. I mean, come on. You got to admit
that. Tom Brady's another individual I hate with a fiery passion. No, let's not combine these two into one just gigantic hell monster that I don't want to deal with.
Clay Bush says, I feel like that's a mistake. The pitch should be, how are you going to get us to the NFL? That is part of the process. And, that is something that Nebraska has to work on. So that's something that, the future awaits. 5280 Tom, who's been really talky, Tom, we'll put half 100 on the Huskers next year. Okay. It's, what I do? I always tell my wife, I could bring her down here and she could go, yeah, John's been telling me for 30 years all the great things that are going to happen when he becomes a millionaire. And she'd be right and then sad. Okay.
They didn't even put up half 100 on us at Colorado. What makes you think you're going to turn around and do it again? It's just on the road next year. That's what
Southern Illinois has beat Northern Illinois. And when I say this, I like to say Illinois because it irritates those people. So I'll have to remember that for next week. There you go. Go ahead if you want. Max Godfrey, why are Colorado eggplant writers in this chat to begin with? Y'all really have nothing better to do. Get the fuck out. It's okay, Max. We can deal with them. I can, people yelling at me has never bothered me that much, except when they're right. And so they're not very often right. And sometimes it bothers me, but I don't know about how you guys handle that.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, we accept all kinds of people here. We're not.
It's part of sports.
Yeah.
I support chick writers.
You should be able to, go back and forth in some level of chanty, blah, blah, blah banter thing.
If you can't take shit, don't say shit. If you can't deal with it, that's half the fun about trash talking. Yeah, you're going to say a lot of shit to people. And when you're wrong, yeah, they expect a lot of it back.
Fred Sacco with a super chat. 5280 Tom is developmentally disabled. We will crush them next year. And CU fans won't get things thrown on them or tires slashed. How about that? Yeah. I see we can promise things in the future too. Joe says, I missed it. Who the hell is it? Joe says it clearly bothers you. I assume he means me. I don't know. Does it clearly bother me? No. Our really pretty much crappy football team bothers me. The Colorado fans aren't bothering me because largely I think, they've been right. I mean, we did lose. And Mike Corrigan, we're just going to finish up with some comments here. Colorado is on Fox Big Noon against next Sunday. Why? Because they're the biggest story in all of sports. I think we heard that from Joel Klatt today.
Game Day officially announced that they're going to Boulder next week too.
Oh my God, I haven't watched that now in years. They don't say much about the Big Ten.
But just to ruin your day even a little bit further, John. They're going to Colorado for Colorado State next week.
Dion Pryor, I don't get why we have to be nice when everyone else doesn't. Well, Dion, you don't have to be nice. I just prefer to, because it's good for your mental health to not let anger overwhelm you. How about that?
Plus,
I'm going to say stuff like this, and the moment I hang up, I'm going to the bathroom, putting a towel in my mouth, and weeping loudly, but smashing the towel harder in my mouth so nobody can hear me cry. Okay, that's how this works.
Well, and also too, the state motto, Nebraska nice. It's written in the state.
Oh,
we have to be. It's mandated.
Linnea says, Linnea, thanks for joining us. I would love to see Texas beat Alabama. Ooh. Wow. There's, I still hate Texas with a passion. So
it's the one time in my life where rooting for Alabama does not make me feel dirty.
That is true. That's a good point.
Like, I don't need to wash myself after that.
Well, you know what? I tell him I'm done with your comments. Let's see. Noah Chestnut. Why the hell is Colorado versus Colorado State a game day game? Because it's the biggest story in sports, and nobody wants to miss out on it.
Yep. It's the unfortunate reality we live in on that one.
Clay Bush says Matt Rule had Nike support at Oregon, which allowed him to succeed. We need something similar. I don't think Matt Rule ever coached at Oregon.
You mean Scott Frost, and he was offensive coordinator at Oregon. Yes, that would be correct, not Matt Rule.
Yeah, Matt Rule coached at Temple and Baylor were two colleges he was at as head coaches before he came to Nebraska. He did that stint with Carolina Panthers in the NFL. Carolina at Red Wine 65. Colorado State lost to Washington State.
Again, Colorado State, not good. Like,
oh
if you
my
thought
God,
Colorado was bad last year.
Noah Chestnut with a super chat. Texas versus Alabama. I choose Meteor to win. Okay. And I just got the text from my wife that supper is ready, so I think I'm going to be signing off. Yeah, this was fun. It was certainly interesting. Should we do it again, like next week?
I think so. Yeah,
I'd be fine with that.
Little
late night, possibly anger, but maybe late night happy.
What is what's the next game? What time do we start against Northern Illinois?
6, I believe.
Oh my God! So
yeah,
late night. You know what? What's going to be next week?
It's going to be your bedtime at halftime.
We're going to get the drunks. That's what we're going to get for the next show. Yeah, that's because it really didn't seem that drunky for this one.
I mean, we could start drinking before we get on the air next week if you want, if that'll help.
It won't help. It won't help at all.
If we lose, we might need to.
Well, that's true. Noah Chestnut says yes, maybe even get Connor corn crazed. I'm guessing he'll be exhausted, but we'll see what happens. Oh, there you go. Lukium, that's what you call a plane crash game, Texas, Alabama. What about the people in the plane?
Yeah, they don't deserve that.
Like a bomber, just maybe a single pilot. He dives out. Joe says, bring back Mickey Joseph. No. That's very simple. Inception goes as a super chat right here at the end. I'll be here, win, lose, or draw. This was fun. LOL. Well, thank you. We have to go. Okay. Because I'm running out of brain bandwidth. But Thanks to Brian for the intro. And this is 5 points of contact. And next week, we'll actually tell you what 5 points of contact means.
Sounds good.
And by next week, we'll work on an intro and an outro.
I'll get a few more things done. I'll get a little bit better things, and I'll shorten up the intro so it's not 2.5 minutes long.
I don't know. That's not so bad because people, you know what I mean? It allows people to see it on YouTube, and I wouldn't shorten it too much because, if we do that and then, 2 minutes for people to, I don't know, maybe a countdown thing.
I'll work on the logo a little bit more and get a little bit better logo, maybe up at the top right. I'll get some things figured out. This is the first time, so
Jarek, what are you gonna do?
Depends on like now or what?
No, for next week to get better. That's what this is about, is getting better.
Improving every week. Yeah, I'm gonna put out a couple of good articles and hopefully, not cry myself to sleep and probably take a vacation day because I keep having too many work dreams. So that means I know I need a day off. So I'm going to make my mental health better by taking a day off so I don't get paid for all the time mentally I put in when I'm asleep.
I'll work on my language as well so I don't piss off any more Colorado people, So
yeah, well,
you need to string the words together.
String them together. Okay.
Yeah, like fuck ass shit bag. You know what I mean? You
just let your inner Tourette's go.
Oh my God. Linnea in Nebraska says Husker smock merch.
Smock.
Oh, Linnea.
At this point in time, I think you're just smocking us.
Jack 1916 says, did you go live during the game? No. We waited until after the game, and then we waited for Connor at Corn Craze to be over. So we'll see what we do. We'll just make it up as we go. So hit the notification bell on YouTube so you get notified. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't want
that's
you guys seeing me cry during the live anyway. So.
All right. Take care, you guys.
All right.
Goodbye,
have a good
everybody.
One. Yep. See ya.